Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the pre-show. Just trying to get things lined up here. How you doing? It's been a week. Good to see you all. Glad that you are here. And we're just getting set up. As you can see, we're in the new digs. This is the downstairs, the basement. Let me get rid of this. This is playing in another window. There we go. And this is what's all going to be painted, and it's an unfinished basement, almost unfinished. It's got a couple of walls, there are a couple of bedrooms over there that are divided out. And here, if I could swing this around, you can kind of see. There's the workout machine, and you can see all the way over there. That's going to be the family room over there. So you can see there's a big TV. There's a little throw rug down, and et cetera, et cetera. It's just a basement. It's a dingy concrete basement. Well, Dave Potter is going to come over, and as in our old, there he is. Hey, Dave Potter. And we're going to do some work on painting the ceilings, painting the walls, the concrete walls, painting the concrete floor, maybe doing a little set design down here to make it look kind of 16th century pubish. So like we did down in the Rainey's in my first basement of a house that we had together. So how you doing, Ro?
Good. Lucy, I left my burrito on my bed and she ate it. So
I know, that's what I heard. Don't leave food out where the dog can get at it, and the dog won't eat your food.
Flynn was messing with my bins, and I was in the same room. I literally stepped like 2 inches away from her.
So, yeah.
Hi, Uncle Dave.
Well, she'll do that. She'll steal food if she gets the chance, like most dogs. If they have the opportunity, they'll goink your food. So, paint, says Uncle Dave. Yes, paint. Did I say something different? So I'm a little tired, a little worn out. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but it's been just fine. And I do want to thank John Learman. We got 2 minutes left, about a minute and a half left. I want to show you this again. You see that big Nordic track machine over there? He came over and helped me. We had a little bit of a budget. We were going to hire movers, but I said, John, if you want to earn a little extra, come over and help me with that. He'd have helped me, he said, without the money, but I would have felt guilty not giving him the money. And so that thing weighs a ton. And we had to take it apart. John pretty much took it apart because he had to help put it back together. And we got that down here. The next time it's moving, he said he's not available. So, well, thank you, Susie Q. I appreciate that. Like I say, I can do everything I used to do when I was 25. It just hurts more now. So we go live in about 30 seconds. So I'm going to get ready. We're going to go dark. And is sound okay for everybody? I think I got the soundboards all set up. Nobody seems to be complaining about it. So I think it's okay. So let's go dark for a few seconds, and then we'll be going live at 25 seconds after the hour. Stand by.
Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Are you content in life? That's a big question that I've asked myself over the last week, especially while we were moving house and looking at all our stuff and thinking of things and planning and so on, the dreams that we have to still do things yet that are different than where we are. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But first, welcome to the program. We've been off air for about a week due to the move, and we have transferred to the new home. And you can see we are broadcasting in very different digs at the moment than we did the last time we were on air. And this is a nice big downstairs to this house. The other place was a downstairs. This is a basement. And it's huge. It's about 28 to 30 feet that way, about 26 to 28 feet this way, and then two huge rooms that are 20 by 18 over there, which will be bedrooms and a studio. This studio will end up in there. After Uncle Dave over in the chat room comes over the next couple of weeks, we're going to finish this basement off. Just in painting and doing some faux walls and things like that to hide equipment and things like that. So that's where we'll be. And folks, thank you for joining us after a whole week gone. I'm glad that you all decided to come back in. I appreciate your presence, and it's good to have you here. And also, you can see this show in its video simulcast if you're only listening audibly over at Odyssey Radio. And you can go to YouTube and see our chat room, which is going on right now. That's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And also hit that thumbs up button. I always hear everybody on YouTube go, smash that thumbs up. Well, I'm asking you to do the same. If you're watching the show and you enjoy the show, hit the thumbs up. That helps us in the algorithms over on YouTube, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. And you can also see us in 3 different places over on Facebook in the video format. So thank you all for being here. As you all know, and I got to say something about it, as I've already stated, we conducted our move to the new digs, the new house, from the townhome to the house. And the house is much bigger for us. The yard is 3 times the size of the other yard. We're in a quiet residential neighborhood. We still have the ominous, venomous, ferocious tower with the water tower with the G5 towers on top, sending out radio waves. We're just on the other side of it. And it's not so bad here. So it's pretty good. So down here in the master bedroom, what's going to be the master bedroom in the studio, there's hardly any signal at all. It's only one spot in the house where you get elevated signals for Rainy's liking, and that's up in the front living room. And so, which is twice the size of the living room at the old place. So this is a nice place. It's got its drawbacks. It's only got 2 bathrooms instead of 3. And with 3 kids getting ready in the morning, etc., it can be a bit of a hassle and a hubbub around here. Rainy, by the way, as I'm just going to make this announcement, this is kind of family announcement. She quit her job. Remember, I told you all that she took a job as a lunch lady at the elementary school, which is just a few blocks from here. And she did that so she could, well, bring in a little extra cash. And at the same time, she wanted to be close to Ellery. Ellery was elated because every day at lunch, she could see Mom in the middle of the day. And Ellery and Rainy are like inseparable. And so Rainy was there, I think, about 9 days. And she saw a lot of infractions going on. And she wasn't sure how to handle it. She said, I don't want to be the new person and start tattling on everybody. But she'd see things like, oh, I don't know, the older staff that's there doing things like they've got their plastic gloves on for serving lunch to kids, little kids, elementary. They do things like she'd see them drop buns on the floor in the dirty, greasy floor, kitchen floor, and then reach down, pick them up, and put them right on top of one of the lunches going out. Things like that. There were mice and mice fecal matter all over the kitchen. And Rainy, the first day before the school even started, her first day, she spent the first day or two helping scrub that out, but it still had to be disinfected. It still had somebody in there. And everything that was in there, all the pans and things, they still hasn't been done yet. And so that's all sitting there. And Rainy said, anything I take out of there, I wash it and I sanitize it. Otherwise, we don't touch that stuff. And also, there were all kinds of little things like that. Somebody sneezing into their hand with a rubber glove, but then touching their other hand with it and touching food with it. Now, you might wonder, when the pandemic was at its height, there were kids getting infected at school. How do you think that happened? Maybe lunch kitchen workers sneezing into the food or dropping food on the floor. Anyway, that started to stress Rainy out. Every day she came home, she was enjoying being there, enjoying seeing our little girl Ellery. But at the same time, she was really frustrated about that stuff. What am I supposed to do? And I said, well, go talk to the boss. And she said, I'm going to be labeled right away as some kind of there for 4 days, and I'm a whistleblower, or she said, I'm going to wait it out. And she always said something to the co-workers doing it. You know, you really should put on a different glove. You really shouldn't put that food on the tray and serve it. And she was brushed off. Well, she got into some little thing with a couple of the people there. Their dishwasher was out for a couple of days sick, and everybody's supposed to be trading off on doing the dishwashing and for shifts. And Rainy kept getting stuck with it. And she said, look, I didn't join this team to be the bottom man on the totem pole. She said, everybody's got to do their fair share, she was told. She said, I do my fair share. I do more than my fair share. And I got to tell you something, guys. I know Rainy, and those of you here who know her know this about her. She is a very principled person. She's a hard worker. She is somebody who puts out. That came out wrong. She does that, but it puts out at work. She does her part. She is task-oriented. She could manage those people better than anybody else. And there's a phrase or a word I'm looking for that's not coming to me, but she is fastidious about her work, if that's the right word to use. She is, what's the word you use? She's got a high work ethic, and she sticks to the guns. And she was being told she wasn't doing her fair share. And she said, look, I'm doing my fair share. I want you to know, I'll do it if you want me to do it, but I want the second shift open because that's when my daughter comes into lunch. So I don't want to have to wash dishes in the back when my daughter's in lunch. She likes to see me at the window. I like to say hi and so on. And yeah, there you go, Rocky Stucci. You're absolutely right. She could. Yeah, I would like it too much, I think. Hey, put me in that headlock again. So she was told there were students around, elementary kid students, and Rainey said, look, I'll do my fair share, but I want you guys to do your fair share too. And the person who is not really her manager, but has been there, she's the head chef, she told Rainey, almost quote, stop being a poopy butt. Rainey went, what? Well, she meant stop being an asshole because there were kids around. And then she said something to the effect of, you got to get the load of poopy out of your diaper. And this is supposed to be the person in charge. And Rainey said, excuse me? What did you say to me? And nobody, and there's only 3 other people there and that work there. And the other person kind of backed her up. And Rainey said, you know what? If you're going to talk to me that way, I'm an adult. You talk to me that way, you know what? You can do it all yourself. I'm out. And she walked out of the job. She immediately got text messages from this same person that was telling her that she needed to grow up and mature. And again, and I said, we're only 2 minutes from the school. Rainey called me and I wasn't at home. And she said, will you come and pick me up? And I said, I'll be there in a few minutes. You getting out early? And she started telling me, she goes, I'm walking. And as she's telling me, she starts crying. Now, it isn't the crying of, oh, poor me. She was so overwhelmed and stressed by it that's the effect it had on her. I said, look, I'll get right over there. And I picked her up on the way walking. And she is a strong person, but she doesn't put up with crap like that. And she doesn't have to. I said, you need to talk to the boss. And the boss was like, are you sure you can't come back to work today? And Rainey said, no, I cannot. And then there were letters and emails exchanged. And Rainey emailed back to the boss and said, look, here's what's what. And she said, I didn't tell you this. It sounds like sour grapes right now, but I got to tell you, these are the things I ran into. This is a long line of things that was happening for the first week I was there. And I was told to shut up. I was told to not say anything. And she said, and then this on top of it, bully me, and I'm gone. And so she walked, not because she's a weak person, but because she's a strong person. And she says, you don't do that. And you know what? I'm out. And she said, I got better things to do with my time. That's what I told her. I said, you just tell them I got better things to do. And I don't need this job that badly. Yeah, it was extra money coming in. But yeah, that's it. Exactly, Steve Clark. She was totally pissed off. And that's really what carried it. Thank you for that, Amanda Berry and everybody. So maybe some legalities here. Yeah, Rainey said she wanted to speak to the HR department. And she's going to submit a report to the HR department. Just say, look, if you've got somebody who is the titular head of this little group and the manager, they need to know how to act. And at the same time, I got to tell you, things aren't being done right. And I can't, you know what she's done also as a result of this? Seeing the way they fed kids in the kitchen? She's pulled our elementary school daughter, Ellery. The other two are in middle school. She pulled her off of hot lunch at school. We're doing home lunch with her, sending a bag lunch or a lunchbox, but lunch. So Rainey said, I'm not going to feed them with that situation being what it is. So yeah, Grumpy Stack, that pisses you off. Me too. So there's a little update on that and how things have been going. You add that on. Some of you on Facebook saw a post that Rainey put up the other day about feeling negativity from all angles. Well, it was that at work. It was the people there. It was also the moving. It was this house was dirty. We've been cleaning. We blew out the vents the other day to the tune of about $250. You should have seen the shit coming out of the vents here. And they had said, well, the dryer that's here doesn't work. And you know why it didn't work? The long vent going out the wall was absolutely clogged with crap. Dust. Take dust bunnies, only clump it into when they degrade into dirt balls. Crammed. They took out a whole big garbage bag of dirty dust filth out of those. And they had smoked in this house for 4 years. Now, I am a smoker, as you all know, a light smoker. 3 to 5 cigarettes a day, tops. I'll go out and have a halfie, and then I'll leave it in the ashtray. I'll go and smoke it again. So I'm out 4 or 5 times a day, either smoking a full or a halfie. And this place, those vents, when we clean those out, well, we had a service come and do it. Check your own home, folks, and see how this stuff, it was full of animal hair and fur and bags after bag after bag after bag of filthy, clumped up dust bunnies and hair. And so they clean them all out. And so that's the kind of stuff. And then the move itself, just doing that day after day. You know how moves are. Rocky, you've moved across country, and I know many of you have moved to other houses. And it's you get everything out. Over a week ago, we had everything out of the house that was furniture, except the big Nordic track. Everything was out. We were even set up here. And it's like, this is kind of nice. It's beautiful. Until we went back to the other house, and the loads and loads and loads of shit laying around all over the house. And you're like, where does all this stuff come from? Closets full. So some of it we threw, some of it we kept. We didn't hire a dumpster. We should have. And so all of that got moved. And it was a week moving all that other stuff over here. And then I mowed lawns. We had to clean the other place and all of that. So all of that piled up on Rainey at the same time last Friday. So that's why it got to her. So anyway, there you go. So think of Rainey, send some good juju her way. And now it's 23 minutes past the hour, and I was just giving you all a personal update. All my personal friends that are on here, those of you who have become family over here, the Intrepids, there's a little update. That's why we were off air all last week. It was just too damn busy, and we were too damn exhausted to do anything. I'm tired today. Today is the first day we didn't do anything. Yesterday, we moved the last 5 or 6 boxes out of the garage that we had stashed there. Everything was clean. We cleaned the carpets. We bleached everything that needed bleaching. I mowed the lawn. We sprayed out the floor of the garage just in case. And so we got it all done. We got over here. We didn't even unload the trailer. It was all outdoor stuff. Planters full of plants and stuff that we had sitting outside. And so we left that just sit out over. It's still there. We still haven't unloaded the trailer from yesterday. And it's nothing. It's not bad. And so we today we were both feeling like we're just run down today. Rainey didn't even get out of bed till about noon today because she was just feeling run down. So tomorrow should be a normal day. I got up and I did some graphics work this morning for a client, which was nice. That hit at the right time. Finished that off before noon. I mowed the front lawn here, which is a huge lawn, and I did and it hadn't been mowed for a while. When you mow, I hate when you leave. We have a mulching mower, but it's still left these strips of clumped grass. I hate that in my yard. So I did it twice. I did it at the old house too. And so I crisscrossed it. I did the plaid pattern on the front yard to take care of all the clumpy grass. And so I did that today. After that, I was done for the day. So there you go. Hopefully that cook sneezing and coughing didn't make her sick. She didn't get sick, Leslie, so that's a good thing. But it was nothing like that. It was the fact that she coughed and didn't change her gloves. Went right back to serving food. So that kind of stuff. Randy said one of them dropped a spoon for dishing things up, or the what do you call those? The big clamps to pick up hot dogs or something. Dropped them on the greasy floor, picked them right up, and started using them again. Anyway, let's get into tonight. And the reason I chose the topic for tonight about being content, it's all this stuff that happens to us in life that we have to ask, am I living a life that is content? Am I always bitching and complaining? Do I have a problem with everything that comes down the pike? I've said to Rainey a lot, because Rainey's got a lot more anxieties than I do. I said, sometimes it's in frustration. Sometimes it's in, okay, how do I say this so I don't piss her off? It's like, let's look for ways to be content and to be happy, even though stupid stuff happens, even though bitchy, bastardy people bother us throughout our day, even though we're all exposed to that. And I figured this is something I have to constantly do for myself. This is something I constantly try to impress on my children, is that there's a couple of times throughout this move, this last few days especially, where I said, can everybody just be happy? Let's have a happy day. Let's be cheerful about it. There's no reason we have to be bitchy at each other and at each other's throats and constantly bickering and fighting. I said something on one of Rainey's posts about the kids bitching and hollering last week. My 3 children, as lovely as they are, constantly at war with each other. It's like, and it's, frankly, folks, it's every 5 minutes throughout the entire day. By the time they go to bed, it's like, oh my God, thank God. Now that they're at school, thank God they're back at school. We get 6 hours of peace. Now, this is the first day Rainey's actually been home since the beginning of school, because she was doing lunch lady stuff. But mixed in all that is finding the contentment, finding the things that make you happy, finding the things that bring you joy. I can't be joyful about this because there's dust bunnies in the ductwork. Well, we get it blown out. There's the happy part. We get it blown out, and we take care of that. And by the way, I just have to say, because she's here tonight, Leslie in the chat room, Leslie, out of the blue, must have sensed we needed something. She sent us a big gift. And I got to tell you, Leslie, a big portion of that went to blowing out these vents. So that needed to be done. But it's when you have something like that, how do you react to it in life? Have you ever felt as if you lacked the ability at all to be content, or to be unable to live in the moment and just be yourself and just be grateful? You're not alone. I suffer from this. Rainey suffers from this. We all do. It's a problem on a regular basis. We're constantly trying to gain inner peace and satisfaction while dealing with all the crap of life. I have often said, and rather flippantly at times, tongue-in-cheek, is that life left to itself is entropic and decaying. And it's a piece of shit. And the only thing that makes it better It's how you cope with it, how you choose to deal with it. Now, personality types can help here, but I think there are also practices that we can engage. One moment we might feel a little anxious, and the next ungrateful for what we have. And being content with one's life can be a process, but I never stop trying. That doesn't mean I don't get pissed off. I was going to almost say the bad word. I get effed off at things. And I get pissed off, and I want to throw in the towel. I'm done. Go F yourself, and I'm done. But I never stop trying. It's not that don't get caught up in this. It's how we deal with it when it happens. Doing little things each day to find satisfaction. And maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you relate to how I'm feeling on this. Maybe your lack of contentment is worse than mine. You might be negative too often or criticize loved ones by even your own reckoning. Now, whether they did anything wrong or not. And now, like with Rainey, she was so uptight over the last few days, everything out of her mouth was barking. And I'm like, hey, I don't need that. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not going to put up with that. The way you don't want to put up with bullying at work, I'm not going to put up with that here. I'm not a child. So blah, blah, blah. And you know what that's like. Maybe you're basing your idea of contentment on wealth or luxury items, which I do a lot. That's a big thing with me. Does my contentment, it comes from being successful. Sometimes I'm not very successful. I will honestly tell you, the whole month of August, I didn't take in one new client project. Well, one. I did some logo designs. Jeremy Hansen for his new motorcycle company, Ace Motorcycles. And but there was not one thin dime came in the door that was money that I earned off of new projects. Thank God for royalty checks. I did get a small royalty check, which helped us out. So I gauge sometimes my success by my financial success. If my family is failing financially, my contentment goes out the window. As I say, I'm not working hard enough. I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. Now, if you suffer from any of this stuff, don't worry, I'm not here to judge. But I'm one of the biggest complainers that anybody knows about when shit goes wrong. I just don't always express it. But I try to deal with my own negativity by having a sense of humor. Do you have a sense of humor? Do you incorporate your sense of humor? One thing that was great about Rainey and I, and it doesn't seem like it's been about the last month or the last 2 months, but whenever we had disagreements and we'd go at it hotly, we could calm each other, bring each other down by off the ledge by joking around, cracking a joke about it. Rainey did that with me this morning. I'll say this morning or last night. You know how I've talked about how my balance is a little off? I don't know if it's just age or if it's age and meds. That's what I went to the doc for. Why am I dizzy all the time? Am I having a problem? And they haven't been able to figure it out. There's nothing wrong with me. I think it might be meds. So they cut me back on that. Well, my balance is not good. Now, I don't walk around wobbling, but there are times where I feel it. If I look down or I bend down to pick something up, stand back up, whoosh, my head's gone. I was in the garage the other day. Rainey's picking up a box that was just a little heavy for her, but that's Rainey for you. Tote the barge, lift the bale, however the saying goes. And she muscles it in, and I'm standing there bent over. There's a pile of closet things on hangers that were, you know how that goes when you move, all piled up on a box. But somebody had pushed it over, a kid or something. And so I'm trying to clean that up, and I'm leaning over, and Rainey comes by, bumps into me with that stupid box. I go, hey. And what happens? Lo and behold, she knocks me over. I go down in the laundry. And but I was good-natured about it. I go, oh, come on. I said, my balance isn't as good as it used to. What does Rainey do? She starts laughing. And she said, I'm so sorry. And she's trying to help me up. I can't get up because I'm in a weird position, tangled up in laundry, and a box or two fell over as well. And so I'm trying to struggle to get up. And she's like, she gets her, and she goes, okay, come on. And she grabs me with both hands and leans back. I go, you are not going to be able to lift me out of here. Foop, she picked me up. So do you handle things with humor? Now, I've got 9 things here, which I doubt we'll even get to, about contentment and ways to find contentment. What is it first? Define it. What's contentment to you? Contentment is this feeling of being satisfied, being happy. In fact, being content is different from being happy. When you're happy, you may have persistent positive thoughts, such as, feeling pleasure or interest in things. But contentment is longer lasting, and it gives someone deeper feelings of fulfillment and satisfaction.
Good night, Dad. I love you.
Good night. I love you too. Might as well say hi to everybody since you're here. I love you.
Bye.
See you later. Have a good night. I love you. I even love you too.
You really think I'm going to bed?
Okay. Well, you're not going to interrupt the show, so you can sit back there if you want. So, contentment is longer lasting. It gives you deeper feelings of fulfillment, of satisfaction. You can be unhappy about a thing, a temporal thing, and you can still be content overall. It's like experiential and positional. Your position is contentment. Your experience can go up and down, though. I love you too. Good night again. See ya. Go to sleep. Mom's up there, so that's what they're all the way upstairs now, too. So now, since being content lasts longer, it's something I think that we should all strive for. And doing the striving gives you this significant amount of gratification in comparison to just being happy, content, satisfied. Even though you haven't done everything you wanted to do you think I'm satisfied with if I was totally satisfied with where I am, I would lose all my goals. I would have no goals. I'm satisfied, being in this position or being here or having this much money or this little money. I'm not satisfied with that, but I'm content with the journey of getting there, even though some days it frustrates me. Contentment can help you focus on real matters, the things that count. So rather than having negative thoughts and doing inconsequential activities, you can enjoy the moment in meaningful ways and have inner peace. When you don't have contentment, what does that do to yourself? What does it do to your partner? What does it do to your family? If your kids see that you are discontent in life, and that's the drive behind nothing being happy, what's that do to them? You have to look at the longer look, take the longer look, take the long goal, and set your goals to become that. If you're not content, strive to be content. The goals will take care of themselves. You can feel at ease in your situation. You can boost compassionate feelings toward others. You can appreciate what's truly important to you. You can learn how to be more content. You can strengthen your relationships. You can boost your positivity. You can increase your understanding of what you really want in life. Now, there are days I'm not a very positive person. There's days I get pissed off. There's days all I'm doing is moaning and pissing and moaning and complaining. But overall, I'm a positive person. So it's easier for me. What do you do when you got somebody that's not very positive by nature? There's 9 ways I've got here to be content. And even though reaching contentment might seem like almost as intimidating as any of the other crap you have to put up with in life, it's a far-reaching goal. You can keep your journey simple so that it appears less daunting a task for you. For one thing, try doing one activity at a time. I see people, well, they're so proud of it. I'm a multitasker. Look, I can cut tomatoes while computing a problem over here and also on the phone with my clients. You know what? Multitasking doesn't work. It takes a little bit out of everything that you're doing, and you're not as productive. So strive to do one thing at a time. Relax in the moment. Take time to relax in the moment. Have realistic expectations of yourself. I got up the other morning. I said, okay, I'm going to finish loading up this and that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to clean this. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to mow the lawn. And I almost made it that day. But I really had to push myself to do it. Have realistic expectations. And now here's some ways that you can acquire contentment in your day-to-day life. Number one, cultivate gratitude. Look at that. It's 41 minutes after the hour. We're just getting to number one. And I think we can breeze through these because it's all pretty much the things I've been saying. Cultivate gratitude. Sometimes being grateful requires one to quiet their mind, take a deep breath, possibly even check your ego at the door. Rocky, if you're still there, you'll remember this with John Ward. Woosa, woosa. We used to mock him endlessly for that. And he was just making fun himself, but you go, woosa. So take a deep breath sometimes. Possibly even check your ego at the door. I find myself in this position quite a lot. I usually become really angry when I have to do chores that no one else wants to do or nobody else does. How many times have I said to my children, clean out your dish when you're done with it? Put it in the dishwasher or clean it, put it in the rack. And it's not until they go to school where you notice there's still dishes all over. They had something to eat last night. And we don't always sit down for a meal. We have little bits and pieces, everybody. I made pancakes the other day. We all sat down for that. And Rainey makes meals all the time. But you say, why can't they do the things that we've asked them to do? And I'm always doing it. Our martyr complexes kick in. How come I'm the only one who takes care of shit around here? One chore that I have is cleaning up the dishes. And it bothers the hell out of me because I tell my kids, clean up your own stuff. Some of you are old enough. Do you ever hear your parents tell you, I ain't the maid? Do your own cleanup. And you know what? When you take a deep breath and you go, sometimes my kids just aren't that with it yet. They don't quite get why we keep our house the way we keep it. And I have to take a deep breath, and I forget being angry until I talk to them. I'm like, hey, you got to take care of your stuff. My gratefulness increases when I take the long look at everybody. So feeling grateful for even the smallest things it's going to come to easier to you if you commit to the practice. Now, I feel for you single parents out there. I've been a single parent. Remember, I was a single dad, the sole custodial dad to Abby, Bryn, and Sam when they were growing up. Rainey walked into that situation and was content with it. I'll be here. I told her, look, I got 3 kids already. I said, I don't know if I'm going to have any more. I don't know if I want to have any more. I don't know if I can have any more. Oh, that's okay. Rainey walked into this family and took over as the mom. When we got married, she came in 17 years ago. We got married in October of 2007. So 15 years ago, we got married. She made a vow during our vows to be the mom to those kids. Sam once told her, even though they knocked heads at times, Sam told Rainey when he was younger, 10, 12, something like that. He said, "You are a better mom to me than my own mom." And so I've had those kids, but my point was, when I was a single dad, I hear the plight of single parents. There's more single moms, it seems, than single dads. I mean, that have the custodial powers. And so I feel for you. It becomes harder. And it's harder to be content when you feel like you're always working. When you're not working, you're working. And you feel unappreciated. You feel like I'm not getting the message across. So I feel for you guys. I know what that's like. So feeling grateful, even for the smallest of things, it's going to come easier if you commit to the practice of it, of being gracious, being grateful. And a great way to do this is to keep a daily great gratitude journal, if you want. I'm not big on journals only because I could never keep them myself. I have scraps of writing, bits and pieces of junk here and there. So you can try this. Step 2, keep a positive mindset. That's tough. I look at what Michelle Canham-Free is saying over there. She has an autistic son. It's difficult. She just said, "I would love to have a conversation with my 7-year-old son someday." It's hard to keep a positive mindset when you're constantly grinding against it. And if you'd like to know how to be content, one way to do this is to have a positive mindset. I think we all have problems with staying positive all the time. But our efforts still count toward boosting our moods. So rather than judge or criticize others, I try to focus my energy on healthy activities, such as helping people improve. And you know who are the easiest people to be judgmental of? The people we're closest to. I'm more judgmental of Rainey sometimes than anybody else. Stop yelling all the time. Shut up. Without thinking about it. But if I think about it, I know why she's that way on certain days. So this could be overcome by doing all sorts of things to help boost that whole effort of keeping a positive mindset. So meditate. We've talked about that before. We should refresh that conversation and talk about that again. So if you tend to criticize yourself more than others, then you should replace this behavior with positive thoughts about yourself. If you're self-critical, self-deprecating, stop it. Replace it with praise for yourself. Look what I can do. What? I am amazing. Rainey said from the upstairs, she yelled down the stairs, "I am amazing." Yes, she is. And so learn to love yourself. Learn to love what you do. That's a way to self-care. Can be as simple as putting, guys don't usually do this, but like lavender lotion on your skin, women. Guys, beer. I don't know what it is. I'm making a little bit of fun. But do the things that help you understand that you're a beautiful person. I look at Michelle Canham-Free's Instagram. And the posts she puts up, she's constantly putting up these positive things for people to see. Sometimes I look at those and I go, "Oh, more positivity." But she's right. So, and that's rare. But doing those things can help you understand you're a beautiful person, that you're worthy of love. Therefore, and it sounds so psychobabbly at first, but let me finish that sentence. So you can love other people around you. And realize the beauty of those around you, even when they screw up all the time. So be compassionate is step 3 toward other people. Told you we weren't going to get through 9. Being compassionate can be a challenge since no one's perfect. And one way to make this easier for yourself would be to focus on practicing self-compassion first. Be compassionate to yourself. I know sometimes we all have so much shit going on in our lives, so much crap all the time. We've got our own kettles of fish to cook. How can we worry about somebody else's? Well, we start by being compassionate toward ourselves. You can be compassionate to others. Be self-compassionate. Be kind to yourself and do what you enjoy. You can explore how to gain self-compassion. You can try doing the things that show that you are a compassionate person. Name some things. You put them in the chat room. You're sitting in there. We got about 5 minutes left of this show. Throw some things in there. How can you show compassion to others? You can do... I'm not even going to give examples. You give the examples. I got a list of examples, and it all sounds trite when I start talking about this. Step 4, avoid comparing yourself to others. You're a unique individual, and if you don't already know this, you should focus on recognizing this quality in yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. I do it all the time. I look at people who are successful, people who do kind of the things that I do. How come they've got... I look at this radio show. How come that guy's got 75,000 followers and I only have a fraction of that? You know, I compare myself to that person. With my art and design, how come there are artists doing what I do that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and I scrape by? What is that? Because I stop and I keep comparing myself to other people and I strive to get there. So while you might think the grass is greener on the other side, which is kind of a little bit of a different issue, it usually isn't. We all know that. In fact, when you step on the grass, you might notice it has brown spots you couldn't see from a distance, as all grass does, all yards do. So another person might have everything you don't have, but this doesn't mean you're going to be content when you gain what they have. Plus, they likely don't have what you do have. There's things you've got that other people want. So when you compare yourself to others, you're wasting your time by focusing all your energy, all your attention on them. And when you're doing this while they live their own life, live your own life. Don't live somebody else's. Instead of dwelling on what you lack, focus on being grateful for what you have. That goes all the way back to the first point. Being grateful for what you have. When I start to compare myself to others, I have to stop myself and think about how my actions affect me. And I notice I feel angry or inadequate, maybe a little jealous. This can lead to hating yourself. I won't allow it. Instead, I tell myself to get a life. Get a life. Resolve to find something better to do with my time, such as creating art, doing the things that increase my knowledge, learn something new. I haven't quoted it for a long time, but Mark Twain, my mantra, 20 years from now, you'll regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So cast off the bow lines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Set your sails to the trade winds. Explore, dream, discover. You do not want to get 20 years down the road and realize I did not do that thing. I wish I had done that 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 7 years ago, 30 years ago. Nothing is stopping you except the things that you hold up and elevate and worship as your roadblocks. Yeah, I said it, worship. We worship our roadblocks. Stop doing that. And there's a bunch of other points here. I only got through 4 of the 9. We could pick this up a little bit tomorrow night, talking about contentment. Maybe bring some other angles, and maybe you guys bring something to the table in the chat room. Let's hear more of what you have to say, because we've got to wrap it up for the radio audience in, about 30 seconds. And so, radio audience over at Odyssey Radio, I want to thank you for being here. If you want to come back over here, we're going to start the captain's cabin for a little bit of time tonight. I am still exhausted, so I may not do a long captain's cabin. But come on over here. And in the meantime, all of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here at Odyssey Radio. And come on over to the YouTube if you want to join us for the captain's cabin after this show ends. So live long and prosper and be content.
Join us every weeknight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. The Intrepid Radio Program, a Scotty Roberts Productions broadcast.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
Welcome aboard, as they say, and I appreciate your being here tonight. Leslie, good night. I see that you took off for the night. I hope you feel better. I see people asking that you feel better, and I hope that you do. And Paige Rockwell, I saw you in here tonight. A lot of people I have not said hi to tonight. Romeldian, good to see you. Field Guy, Steve Clark, Susie Q, Matthew Sainsbury, and Grumpy Stack. Good to see you all. And who else we got in here? Ann Allen. Good to see you, Ann. I don't know if you're still here, but glad to see you here. Amanda Berry down in Australia. And let's see, who else was in here tonight? Trying to see some people I may have missed. I think I said Grumpy Stack, didn't I? Uncle Dave, of course. Uncle Dave's waiting in the wings. He's going to come in and join me for the captain's cabin. And in just a minute here. Matt Finn, good to see you. Master Finn, he's over there ranting and raving in the wings. I can see you, Uncle Dave. You may not know this, but I can see you. And we'll bring him in in just a minute here once I'm done doing what I'm doing. And Michelle Canham Free, David Otness, some of you, Robert V, good to see you. And everybody who came into the chat room tonight. So good to see you all. And I appreciate your presence here and everything you do for this show. And you still can, by the way, like this broadcast on YouTube if you have not yet. That helps our numbers, our algorithms, our bloody yada yada yada. Field guy is here. I think I've hit almost everybody that was showing their face in the chat room. If I missed you, Elderberry, take no offense. It's that I just missed you. Barbie D, and etc. Sarah Yusuf. There she is. Raise the volume. Oh, that's why Dave was waving his arms. Son of a... Okay, I just spent the last 5 minutes saying hi to everybody over there in the chat room. So if you didn't hear your name, it's not because I omitted you. It's that you couldn't hear me. I just started seeing people because I had scrolled way back in the chat room to see who all was here, so I didn't see your current comments. Sorry about that, guys. Ooh, echo, says Sarah Yusuf. We have an echo coming from my end. I can turn that down a bit. Let me bring Uncle Dave in. There he is. Hey, Dave.
So, for those who couldn't see, I was up there. Hey,
He was.
I can hear you.
I'm like, I see you, Uncle Dave. I see you. Settle down over there. Damn it, I hate doing that.
What have I said over and over? Just look over at the screen when you start talking. If you're not making sound, we will let you know.
I was scrolling through the chat room, scrolling back to see who all was here so I could say hi.
Yeah.
So, hey, Roger Rabbit. You should have called me. Well, my phone's upstairs. So, hey, Mark Eddie, good to see you. So, guys, sorry for the first however many minutes of silence that was.
I'm sure what you said was lovely and very touching.
It was lovely. It was poetic. It was flowery. It was from my heart. It was like, yo, Steve Clark. Hey, Field Guy. Hey, Romeldian. Susie Q. Sean Stroik, good to see you. Roger Rabbit. Michelle Canham Free. Sarah Yusuf. And who else we got? Uncle Dave. Field Guy. Romeldian. Paige Rockwell is here. Or at least was. Elderberry, good to see you. Susie Q, I don't know if I said her name. Barbie D, and it goes on. Excuse me, on and on and on and on.
I'm building a pair of shoes from scratch.
Very nice. Is that for costume?
Yeah, I'm doing some Viking reenactment stuff. So
Viking reenactments?
Yeah, because
Ancient
I haven't been to the 800s for a long time, so I want to check it out.
There you go. Those are pretty cool. I just did a bunch of graphic design today for Jimmy Cunningham for the Phantom's Feast. So, which Rainey and I will be doing the Phantom's Feast again this year.
Cool.
He's going 3 weekends, I think, in at the end of October, middle of the end. Phantom's Feast is at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. You've heard Rocky and I have done that for years. Was he out last year? Yep, he was out last year. And he can't make it up this year. Rainey and I took a show last year because I think Rocky and Ron came up as well. They could only do one. And so it'll be interesting to see if we pick up some of the same things that we've been picking up other years.
We're doing a ghost night at Triune Temple in October.
Are you?
Yeah, you should come to that. Bring Rainey.
I'd like to. It'll be fun. Give us the dates.
Dump the kids off someplace and.
Nice.
But, yeah, there's a lot of activity at that temple. We've had brothers that saw full-blown apparitions.
Wow. Which are rare.
Yeah. I had gotten there early to fix dinner and had run to the store, but I left all the lights on. And another brother got there, saw the lights on, assumed I was inside, was rattling the door. And he said some guy came out on the landing on the second floor, looked down at the front door, walked down, looked right at him as he passed by the vestibule, and then turned and walked through a wall.
Just walked through a wall.
And he was as solid looking as you are, Dave. I have no idea. And then he just walked through a wall, man.
That's pretty cool, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah.
To be
I'm
able
like
to
that-
see that and experience
And my
that.
response was, "That's weird because there was never a door there. I wonder why he went through."
Yeah.
So it's
You
not
know,
like
I
it was a
was-
residual.
I'd like to do a show on this, and I want to see if I can get Whitley Strieber on the show. I was just watching a documentary with Flynn that was made a few years ago about his experiences of alien abduction.
Mhm.
And as many of you may know, he wrote the book Communion, and about his experiences. He wrote that book in I
He
think
may
the
have
early-
just visited a Catholic church. It feels a lot like abduction, and there is communion. But
yeah. So I would like to see. I came on his show once, so I'd like to see if he'll return the favor and come on my show, and because I'd love to have him, because I think it's an interesting topic.
yeah,
So,
I need to reach out to Sarah too, and Paranormal Sarah, and
Yeah.
because she's come and done work there before. In fact, her
Yes, she
and
has.
Nikki's ex.
Nikki. Oh, who was her ex?
Native American.
Yeah, who was her ex? I know Nikki. I just talked to her not long ago, but
Well, I assume they were together. Maybe they're just partners. I don't know. Maybe they're not.
well, she's with Jones, isn't she? Nikki Crew Jones is her name. Isn't she?
Wasn't she working with a Native American?
Doesn't she?
Yeah, Nikki.
She's
and there
Native
was
American.
when you guys were doing that version of Dead Reckoning,
Yes,
wasn't there a Native American involved there?
that was Nikki.
No.
We did. We had Leon
male.
Stanzalone. Leon Stanzalone came and did a
No, that's not
pose
who
and a
I'm-
photo shoot for us.
This was a guy that did tech work with her and stuff. But
No. I don't know if they were ever a thing or not. Oh, wait a minute. I do kind of remember that vaguely, but neither here nor there.
Anyway, he and
she's been
Sarah
with
came
Mitch
and-
Jones for years now.
he and Sarah came and worked the temple, and they picked up on all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'm being all stoic at the time. They're like, "Well, I'm getting this," and I'm like, "Who are you?" And I'm just taking notes. But they were spot on. They were
Nice.
spot on with everything that they found.
This is the graphic I did for Rainey and I. We have Friday, October 21st and Saturday, October 22nd that we'll be doing out at the festival grounds for the Feast of Fantasy. Or I'm sorry, Phantom's Feast. And Dave Schrader is going to be there one day.
Awesome.
Thursday. You're going to get Dave Schrader out there and a couple of one paranormal team and a couple of other psychics split up. He only does Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and of every weekend. So there you go. And it's always fun out there because there's
you
always.
look like you're in a bunker.
I do. I feel like
We
I'm in a
could
bunker.
play with that. We could do, some wall treatments to make it look more like a bunker.
Well, we could. I still am stuck on the 16th century English pub look.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
So, yeah, that's my favorite. But see, you can see here. If I start to turn this around, folks, there is.
You know what we should do? We should paint a bay window on one of those walls and give yourself a nice view.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. So this is just we got that.
Let's do a bay window that looks out over the Thames, and across the Thames there's the globe.
The Globe Theatre, yeah. London Bridge and the Globe Theatre. Well, the original London Bridge was not far from the Globe Theatre.
Yeah.
That, by the way, is where the kids are set up right now just to watch TV. They can come down here and watch TV. They pull pillows down here in our chairs from behind the desk.
You know, we could put some shackles in and some chains they could just hang on the
shackles
wall.
and chains might be good. Torture implement.
Yeah.
Implements of torture. That's what I'm trying to say.
We'll put you in the oubliette, but we give you a TV.
Yes. But you must poop in the oubliette. So, let's see. I can take that picture off. Remove. Boom. There we go. Boom. Hey, Diana. Diana will be out on the 20th here. Let's see. I think I've got your little group flyer here. I did ads up for all of these today. And here's Diana's group. Let me save this so I can show you this. JPEG. Let's go to it'll only let me show a PDF format is all I can import in, which is limiting if I don't have something in a PDF. But save that there. And let me actually, I'll show you Diana's group. Good to see you, Diana. You must have been listening. Your ears were itching, or your nose itching, or whatever it is.
Where was Rocky at? Was he over in the Facebook group?
He may have come in on the Facebook page. I don't
know
because
he was not in the chat.
Well, if he wasn't in the chat room, then he was on the Facebook chat. So here you go. This is
hey, Sarah.
This is thank you, Sarah. Congrats accepted. There is Diana Atkinson's group. She said they'll be out on the 20th and the 27th. Oh, why have I got the 29th on there? I hope that's not just a typo. Oh, Jimmy had some changes. Boom, 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 boom. North Star Paranormal missing 10/28. You'll be in there on the 28th, according to Jimmy. I think I put the. So I'll fix those. Yeah, there's a couple of dates I have off. That's about it. So I'll fix a couple of those. And where's my window here? There it is. I've got you on the 29th. It's the 28th, I do believe.
So they call it art and they don't call it perfect.
That's right. So there you go.
There are always changes.
Diana says, hey, someday I would like to be on your show. I'm not famous, but I got great ghost evidence and stories. You're famous in my book, Diana. Let's line it up. Let's get you in here showing off some evidence. That's
Love
always
good ghost stories.
fun to see. Yeah, ghost stories and evidence. So so there's that one. And I'll show you one more picture because it has them all in it. It's the big poster for this event, and it was where we just took all of the single groups and people that are out there doing this for Jimmy, and threw them into one poster. Some of the information would be a little redundant because it repeats. I just took all these little ads and put them together. I'm going to pull that out of there, and I'll show you this one last one, folks. So if you're local to the Twin Cities,
or if you're not, you want to take a little trip,
or even if you're not, check out the website and come on up for the feast. It's the Phantom's Feast and then the ghost hunting afterwards on this old site. It's the old, almost 50 years old. It's more than 50 now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The festival's been on that site, and it's all on top of a stone quarry under the ground, and it's all old growth oak trees and ley lines.
There was an old farmstead back there in the 1800s, and
so it's a pretty impressive place.
Marilyn, who used to, not Marilyn Carr, but the other Marilyn who worked I think she was the one that crafters would have to jury through to get their stuff in.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, the year they built the pavilion, she went out. She wanted to get some photographs of the pavilion for some marketing stuff they were getting ready to do. And she took a camera out to the site. She took a bunch of pictures of the pavilion. And this is back in the day when you dropped them off at the photo place and then you went and picked them up, you know, a couple days later and all that.
Yep.
And somebody picked up the photos for her. They're going through them in the office and they go, "Why'd you bring a bunch of actors out? And they're not even in the right costume period." And she's like, "I didn't have anybody else out there." She goes, and there's, can't remember if it was one picture or two pictures where there's a family, mom,
Wow.
dad, and like three little girls, all dressed in clothing from the 1800s,
Oh, wow.
standing together in front
I'd
of
love
the
to see
pavilion, looking at her. I think they were in the farm when it burnt.
Okay.
I mean the photographs. When the farmhouse that they used as the office burnt to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
Bill lost a bunch of records. A lot of people lost records. I think those photographs were there.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, this is the poster, the main poster. It shows Dave Schrader, Rainey and Me, Northern Outer Realm Paranormal Society. That's Diana Atkinson's group. Missy Reno Smith and Kitty Truax, a couple of psychics. And I think we've just got a couple of dates that are off in some of these, so I got to go in and take care of those. But anyway.
I'll have to send you a video. I sent it to Ruben earlier today.
Okay.
There's a dad with his daughter who's 2-ish, maybe 3-ish, and she keeps repeating this phrase, and it sounds like another language. It sounds like Lakota, is what I think. And they are clearly not Native American. But it also, there's parts of it that sound like it could maybe be Japanese. You know how some of those languages, they overlap in the way their sounds are. So anyways, I send it off to him because he's like, "Can anybody tell me what she's saying?" And she has this phrase and she repeats it often. And
do you know what it is? What it sounds like?
Chihoto something or other. It's
okay.
I'll send the video to you.
Okay.
I sent it to
Ruben. Have Ruben listen to it and see.
Yeah, I did. I sent it to Ruben right away and said,
"Okay,
check this out."
Cool.
But yeah, I think it's a case of one of those things because she's really young, where the veil is thin and she's just remembering something from a past life or something.
Sure. That's interesting. So I want to get Whitley Strieber on. I had Amy Bruni tell me she'd like to come on the show, but I haven't been able to get her in here yet. Jason Hawes is another one. They got really busy.
Well, we'll have to kidnap them, throw a bag over their heads, drag them into the back of a van, and drive them to your basement.
Sure. Yeah, get them down here. We could have we could set up a pretty neat thing with cameras and lighting and mics and seating down here for doing.
Yeah, well, keep in mind you live in Wisconsin where all the serial killers grow up. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Preventing people from coming over or what?
I don't know. It's like, come to my studio in my basement.
Oh yeah.
It kind of looks like a meat locker. No. That's just
that's a set. It's ambiance. So exactly.
My driver will pick you up. Be on the corner of such and such and such and such.
That's right. That's right.
Boom, boom, get in the ground. Boom. Hey, where are we? I'm going on a radio
show.
Hood
over his head.
Shut up, you. Save your talking for the radio.
Halloween is the worst time of the year, Sarah Yusuf, for people to have events because everybody in the paranormal, especially those crossover events, the Paracons, everybody wants to do some
sort of ghost hunt thing, and the ghosts are like It's Halloween. We want to take that night
Yep.
off, man.
I know when we did the Paradigm Symposium, we did those in October. The first week, and that's when I learned that that's not the month to do them.
Yeah.
We did the first one on October 4th in 2012. And so we always grab that first weekend in October. And then the fourth one we had to cancel because we lost some supporters and had to drop it, but we postponed it. That's the one we had at the lodge in St. Louis Park.
Yep.
And we did it in May. You know, I got a lot of criticism for that from circles of people that don't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, they were saying things like, well, first of all, it was like you charge too much money for tickets. And then had others saying, we looked to places like Gaia TV. Gaia TV gave us $5,000 in 2014 to come and be part of our show. So we look to organizations like that for sponsorship. We look to MUFON for sponsorship. Now, they didn't do anything for us. I had some good conversations with the president at the time, who was later found, I don't know where this ever went, just recently in the last 6 months or a year, child molestation or something. So I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to name his name because I don't have the current facts on that. But that hit the news and everybody was kind of shocked. But somebody in that organization said, well, we don't go out and raise funds from supporters. They shouldn't have to either. And I said, yeah, well, you're MUFON. You got millions of members. You've been around for decades. I said, when this happened, I said, I've been around for 2 years. And we're just looking for sponsorship. If you don't want to sponsor, you don't have to, but don't badmouth us.
Yeah.
And so, do you know how much it costs to put those symposiums on?
Even a science fiction convention pulls in sponsors and stuff.
Right.
Renting hotel space is not free.
I remember I had Dave came out and was a chef one year for us and cooked the big dinner on Saturday night and also did the lunches in the afternoon. And the people could buy box. You prep the box lunches, didn't you?
Yep.
And that was your idea, as a matter of fact.
Yep. It's
Do the
fast
box
and
lunches.
easy.
But do you know how much those symposiums cost? The first year that we did at the Hilton, the Radisson in St. Louis Park, that cost us about $180,000 to put that event on.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said it's not cheap doing that. The hotels want to make money, apparently.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's how they make their money. So, they quoted me, the hotel bill alone was about, it was I made a joke out of it. It was the Radisson Doubletree. Is it Radisson? This is the Hilton Doubletree?
Yeah. No. Hilton Doubletree.
I said aptly named because their bill came in at double the price they quoted. They quoted me $31,000, and we were just a couple of bucks short of $62,000 at the end of the weekend. We didn't add anything on. We had the banquet. We did this. We did that.
I had a lot of lobster delivered to my room on the
ahead of me. Yeah. Where'd the lobster go? Whose room did that keep going to? Hey, who upgraded to an executive suite and ordered lobster?
Hey, I learned. So I used to be part of the production team for Convergence, which was a huge science fiction convention. And I came in on a Saturday morning for some meeting we were having, and it was early, and I wanted frickin' coffee. And so I called down to the front desk and I said, hey, there's a water station up here, but I'd really love it if we could have a coffee station because it's early morning. She's like, oh, no problem. We'll get one right up there.
No problem.
And
you know why it's no problem?
Ishmael comes to me the next week and he goes, did you order coffee for your room? I did, because it was like early morning and we were short on coffee, and so I ordered a pot. Do you know that coffee is like $50 for a pot of coffee?
Yeah.
And I'm like, $50? I said, it was one air pot. How the hell can that be $50?
Do you remember the first Paradigm Symposium? We had 2 big screen TVs for the audience.
Yeah.
And so they could see on the far sides of the room.
Yeah.
The 2 big screens. And we had the main microphone. And we had 5 handheld mics up on the table on the stage for when we did the panel discussions. Micah and I, as MCs, used the wireless mics that we had on the tables. And so to have those 2 TVs on, plus the sound system running, plus the 5 mics, and I think maybe we had 2 additional wireless mics for Micah and I, and the main microphone at the podium. They quoted me a price of, I'm doing this off the top of my head, it was something like $23,000. I said I could hire a sound guy to come in here and pay him full time to come in and do the sound, and we'll go buy the mics for cheaper. And so he said, okay, well, we'll do the value package. Okay, what's that get me? 2 mics and, the TV, but not the premier sound. Okay, let's do it. It was like $2,000. So when it came on the bill, what did they charge me for? Well, they put in the big Supreme sound and charged me $23,000 for the sound. I said, are you kidding me? And I was able to get that dropped off of the bill. So stuff like that. It was just unreal, the amounts of money that went out. But and of course,
we
I
tried to
flew
do
everybody
the cheaper
in.
one, but there was a crackle in the mic, so we just went with the big one.
We just went with the big one. Charged you for it, of course. So,
what I wish we could have done that we wanted to do for the first one. We had talked about having me do some foam carving and stuff. One of the things
that was
I
for
wanted
the
to
second
do,
one.
Oh, was that the second one?
We were going to do the Mayan calendar.
Yep, and I wanted to
Something
do
like
it actual size so people could see how big that stone was.
Right.
And also I wanted to do a set of mannequins with the 5 different alien species that we know of.
Yeah.
And done in their proper size so people could see what these things look like. And we weren't able to pull all that together, and that's a bummer because that would have been way cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And I wanted to. We always tried to have a theme, but the first year we had those big, long, streaming banners, which were very cool. And let's see. I got a picture of this. I got a picture with. Who's in this picture? Because some of the guys from Prometheus, we had Philip Coppens, Giorgio Tsoukalos, Eric Von Daniken, and one of the producers, I can't think of his name, up at the front. But then there's, I've got one here that also shows the room with the people. I'm going to show you guys this banner. There's this one with the banner.
Freaking Giorgio.
I know. Let's see.
We had Linda Moulton Howell there as well. Oh, and we had the other guy who replaced Art.
Weather guy who replaced Art.
The other guy.
George Norrie was there too.
Yeah, George Norrie. Yeah.
George Norrie, he came and gave his own little talk, and he emceed the all after the dinner on Saturday night, the all speaker panel discussion.
Yeah, they all guests, all
that
the guests.
Was pretty cool.
Speakers. Yeah.
Or was it Ian Punnett that did that the first year? Did Ian Punnett do it the second year or the first year? I can't remember.
I think Ian did it the second year. I think George did it the first year.
I think George did it the first year.
Because the first year is when you had Giorgio and all ththose guys there.
Yes.
And
that's true. That's true.
And so George came in and did that. He wanted to be with Van Daniken.
Yes, he did.
You know, because Van Daniken just doesn't come over here very often. And so he wanted the opportunity, and I'm sure they did some sort of radio interview or
Yeah.
something. And
I
wasn't
miss ourselves too, Susie Q. Now, this, by the way, it's not the best picture in the world, but this was the front of our stage. We took the podium down for the panel discussion. Now, this wasn't the all speaker. We had 16 speakers there for the all panel discussion. This was the Ancient Aliens discussion on Friday night. And you see Eric Von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods, in the blue jacket.
Yep.
To the right of him is the big producer. I can't think of his name. Then Giorgio Tsoukalos is to Eric's left, and then Philip Coppens. And you've all heard me talk about Philip Coppens, who passed away 2 months after this event, and had something to do with the whole thing, my experience at the Tomb of Senenmut. So he also wrote the foreword to my book on the reptilians. So there you go. There's that one. So let me take that out of there. And I've got all kinds of pictures from that. You can go on my Facebook and look up the Paradigm Symposium pictures. And so we had good times at those events. The second year,
we did.
The second year was when Dave and I had asked Dave if he could carve that big Mayan calendar. And I wanted to put that up on the stage. We couldn't get that. So instead, he got me, I think it was you, got me those pillars.
Yep.
3 different heights of pillars.
3 columns.
And we just did a minimalist stage. That's the year we had Scott Walter from America Unearthed.
Yep.
And who else did we have? We had another like 12 or 14 speakers at
what's
that
his
one.
name that got abducted in Oregon?
That was 2015. That was
yeah.
That was at the lodge.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Travis Walton. And we had Scott Walter back in that one.
Yeah.
We had several other speakers that were like in and out, some of them. But fun doings. We had a lot of fun with that. Love doing the Paradigm Symposium.
Well, and it always fell on the same weekend as the film festival that I worked. So
yeah. Until the May event.
Yeah.
When we got you to do the catering. The chefing. So yeah. So very good times with that. I have people still. A few weeks ago, somebody asked me, "Are you ever going to do another Paradigm Symposium?" And I said, when the clouds crack open and beams of light shines down, and God sticks his bare butt through the clouds and uses his hands to make his cheeks talk, and says, "You will do another symposium." I said, until God does that, I ain't doing another one. So.
Oh, never say never. If the right money came through, it's just like.
Well, that's it.
When I was on the Renaissance circuit and doing that, somebody asked me what I'd do if I won the lottery, and I said, I'd keep doing the circuit until I ran out of cash.
Sarah Yusuf asked, why don't we do an online symposium? I don't know. I look at those and I say, I feel when I see ads for one, I go, I'd like to go to that. And I can find out it's online. I go, they're cheaping out on me. I felt that was something that came up as a direct result of the COVID stuff. And that's just my take, Sarah, not criticism of you asking about that. But yeah, that was not a big thing for me. It's not impossible. It's like doing a radio show with a bunch of people, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I did one, and it was like a giant Zoom call, and you can only have so many people visible, and then somebody coughs and suddenly they're full screen and they're, sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, mute your mic.
One thing I know that Micah Hanks and I did at that first symposium in 2012, I said, I want this thing to run slick, like a television show. I said, I've been to so many events and group events where they're they're fucking around with the microphones, and you see the crew is up there. They're all trying to figure out where the wire is plugged in, or how to plug in a stupid slide projector, and you get like 15 minutes in between speakers because they're all fumbling around trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, does that work? No, dude. Anybody hear me? And I said, I don't want any of that. I said, what happens? We stick to the schedule. When the hour is up, we announce to everybody. I said, we have those wireless mics out in the hallway, and we're watching for the end, or at the very beginning when it started. I say we start, and the event started at 7:00 on Thursday night, because that was the day everybody's arriving, and we were going to have one big meeting and then a meet and greet. And I said at 7:00, then at 9 a.m. in the morning, and for every break between speakers, for lunch, for dinner, all days, I said, we start on the strike of the hour that the agenda says. And we never missed that once. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stand outside. And at the first event, there were 2 aisles, not a main aisle. 2 aisles coming down. And Micah took one door, I took the other. And as soon as 7:00 hit, tick, I was on my mic and I said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I think we had something like the Star Wars from the original movie had the, if I remember correct, or else this is something I really wanted to do. I'm pretty sure we did this because everything I planned, we did. It seems. And we were so spot on with the 2012 symposium. And that's the way I wanted them run. I wanted them run like clockwork. I wanted them to be entertaining.
That's
I
cute.
had the fanfare from the end of Star Wars, where Princess Leia's giving them their medals. And it's got that dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 da-da. It goes through the whole thing. And that's how I had that cued, that music right at 7. Boom, music starts. Dun, 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 dun. And I go, welcome, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paradigm Symposium 2012. Then Micah would say something, and then I would say something, and we'd start walking down the aisles. The 2 aisles, talking to the audience on the mics. And that's the way we did every break. Everything was clockwork. It was organized like greased lightning. It was Eric.
Have you ever tried to actually grease lightning? It is really difficult,
it's
man.
tough. Just don't hang on.
What's worse is oiled ice.
The thing is, don't grab it before you put the grease on. Von Daniken said of that event, he wrote a public thing for us, and he said it is the best congress I have ever attended in all my life in the world. And I said, well, that'll do. That works. So anyway,
Oh well,
that was good. If we were ever to do another one, I'd expect everybody from our radio audience to come up. Oh, you know who came up to that symposium? Ben and why am I spacing on his name? The guys from Australia, from Mysterious Universe Radio.
Oh,
in 2012, they flew out here from Australia to be at our event.
that's a long ways to go.
They met with about 200.
That's traveling through time.
Yeah. They met with about 250 of their own followers of their show locally. They threw a party after one of the nights, a big pool party at the pool.
That's really cool because they can drink up heavily the night before and then fly back to the day before to be there on time.
That's right. That's right. So that was fun having them there. You can reach a wider audience without low overhead, or with low overhead, I think is what Sarah Yusuf meant.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. It's just not the same.
It's not the same. It's not. the Paradigm Symposium, the things for 4 years that we did it, 5?
5,
The
I
thing
think.
about Paradigm Symposium was that everybody commented about who attended was how personable it was.
Yeah,
How,
and I was just going to say the same thing, and that's true of the actual science fiction conventions and
yeah,
stuff. I've been part of this online convention, a moderator for since it started, called Constellation. When the pandemic hit, all these cons were canceled around the country, and so we created this online event that's still going, actually. But the problem is, so like at an actual convention, like Manu Intrepid, who played Ichib on Star Trek Voyager,
mhm.
was a guest at Manticon one year, and I had done a film piece for one of the discussion things, the panel discussions. I had created a 15-minute film that ran before the discussion, right? And
Yeah.
literally the night before the convention, we gathered at Wayne's farm and we shot this whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I went home and I cut it all together and I burned it onto a disc and we had it ready for this thing. And
One of
and
those
he,
movies, I remember those days where everything was like, and we filmed it the night before and edited it, and
yeah.
you know,
And so
composed the music.
Manu's in the front row and he's blown away by this little 15-minute film. And he keeps
Yeah.
taking the conversation back to the film. And he's like, how many months did you guys work on that? And John Knights was on the panel and he goes,
Well,
oh man, we shot that yesterday.
we did that yesterday.
We
Yes.
waited for everyone to get off work. We used the sunset for sunrise. It was a duel that was being done at sunrise. And so I shot everything against a sunset, sprayed dew on everything,
Nice.
and created that look like it was sunrise, and did the duel. And we did it about 3 times so that we had the sun in different positions.
Yeah.
So it looked, and then edited those so that the higher position suns were coming in later in the fight. So it looked like the sun was coming up, not going down anytime you saw the sun.
Right.
And he was completely blown away. And he and I spent the rest of the convention sitting and chit-chatting any chance we got about filmmaking and stuff like that. And you can't get that at an online thing. You can't have that one-on-one conversation with the
something I
guests.
put into the contracts for every one of the speakers, Eric Von Daniken, authors that I had, Giorgio Tsoukalos, George Norrie, all of these people, I put in the contract. I said, and I talked about it ahead of time, of course.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want people just disappearing to their rooms after they speak. I said, I want you to mingle. And I said, especially after hours, after the last speaking of the night.
And as I recall, everyone did except for Linda Moulton Howe.
Yeah. Linda Moulton Howe. She opened it up and she disappeared for 2 days into her room and ordered room service, and that was it. So
But I don't even understand.
she was upset at first. She apologized to me later at a different event. About 2 months later, I saw her at an event that I was invited to. It was a private event. It was that big one in Pennsylvania. If you'd ever heard anything about that. And I saw her there, and she profusely apologized. She said, you know what happened? She said, I was just being dumb. She said she's very much a feminist. And we opened that show because we were talking so much about ancient Assyria, ancient Mesopotamia, and all that, and how it related to aliens and all kinds of weird history. I had belly dancer friends of mine from the festival came over and I asked if they would specifically can you do something that's Assyrian centric? Yeah, they had some dances they could do. So they did a couple of dances, a sword dance, stuff like that. It wasn't very sexual. It was, as belly dancer gets, but professional belly dancer.
Yeah.
And I guess LMH was a little put out by that. She thought it was. She said that she thought. I thought you knew where I stood on that, and I took it as a personal insult. And I said, by no means would we have done that. I said I had no idea that would be a problem. I would have talked to you about it ahead of time. And I already had it lined up, so I wouldn't have canceled it, but I would have talked to her about it if I knew it was a problem. So, but other than that, we had everybody was so good. Because I put it in the contracts, mingle. You look at some of the pictures from that event. There are people just milling about, these celebrities, if you will, walking around in the lobby where everybody was singing, playing, getting musical instruments. We were drinking and we were doing radio broadcasts from there. Everybody was out there. And there was one thing I saw, and I mentioned this once before, I think, Eric Von Daniken. If you don't know him by name, he wrote, in 1968, he wrote Chariots of the Gods. And he's written 20 books since then.
Yeah, I think my
kind of got the ball rolling
here
on the ancient astronaut theory. Well, he's in his 70s, and he came and during the daytime. Now he didn't get up till noon, so he'd eat breakfast. And his business card, I told you this. His business card actually says and his assistant Ramon told me, now remember just one thing I want you to remember very clearly. Mr. Von Daniken does not exist in the mornings. And that's even on his business card. So he would get up around noon and he'd come down, he'd eat, and he'd get a drink, a cocktail. And he'd go sit outside.
Nothing like a cocktail for breakfast.
Nothing like a cocktail for breakfast. And he'd sit outside. And I remember seeing a young couple come up to him that were attending the event. And he's sitting on a marble bench out in the courtyard. And they said, Mr. Von Daniken, I saw them. We just wanted to come and say hello and meet you. And he slides over and goes, here. And he pats the bench. He goes, here, you sit down right next to me. We'll talk for a while. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful. And, so that's what everybody did. So anyway, those were good times, good events.
I was at an event with David Weber, and so he's looking for a break from the hustle and bustle of this convention out in Utah, and steps into our operations room. And I said, have a seat. I'll get you some water. Would you like some coffee? What would you like? And so get him something to drink. We're sitting there chatting, and he holds an impromptu panel discussion on how to put together multi-book series and how to keep track of all the characters that you create and have them reoccur in other novels and stuff, so they don't just drop off. And he creates individual files for each character and stuff, so he can call them up, and it's got all their back history, everything he's written about them. Yeah, it was the coolest thing.
When it's
like an hour and a half, he sat in there with a bunch of wannabe writers, just answering questions and how to get around some of the publisher stuff so you can get your work seen. And yeah, very cool.
Very cool. Well, Dave, I'm going to call it a night.
Are you really?
I'm a little tired, and so I'm gonna hit it.
Okay. So, I will not be out to paint this week. This week I'm up north doing a Viking thing. But then I have some dead time between then and going out to North Carolina, and we have to talk about that anyway. So
yeah, we do. All right. Well, we'll get this all figured out, and we'll get things painted up and looking nice down here.
Awesome.
All right. You have a good night, Dave. Love you, brother.
Talk to you later.
All right, folks. That's pretty much it. That's all we got for tonight. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your time, for coming in. I am going to call it a day and hope you do the same, unless you're in Australia where it's the middle of the day. So thanks for being here. And you know what? Live long and prosper.